too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You ever imagine your day sitting on a hilltop somewhere, overlooking the bay below and watching the seas roll in, just a caressing waves against the sands, and you wonder, was that what Robin Crusoe saw? Was it what our good friends and family at the Hidabakas would see as they looked out, in absence of the mountaintop? Well, it's an open line, and let's use that imagery to see what we can come up with. Let's think, let's talk, let's act, let's be productive, let's be positive. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. We're going to have some open line today. We're going to invite one of our young, intelligent minds to share from his thoughts. 1:30, as his schedule allows, he'll come and sit with us for a bit. We'll tell you who it is in short order, but maybe we should have a prize. Guess who it is? And then you can have, not only been successful, in guessing, but maybe win something. But do we always need to be incentivized to do the right thing? Do we always need to get a reward for participating? Good question to ask. So earlier, and when I say earlier, I mean before 8 a.m. when I know a lot of us were already at work. But by then, some of us have had, 3 hours under our belts already. Had a chance to be a part of a presentation from another jurisdiction. And because of the time zones, you got to, for some of us, get up a little earlier or stay up a lot later in order to participate in that. And this particular presentation had to do with the people of today, in particular, the younger people. And they were trying to limit sort of the potential impact of those between 15 and 25. In the discussion, one of the ladies said, well, I can see why we would consider, age 15 and potential 25. But some of these things that we're thinking the 15-year-old as being impacted is also now the 8 and 10-year-old. Not just the biological things, the psychological, societal implications, the thoughts, and I don't know, how would you put it? With great constraint, refrained from adding in a commentary, because if you listen sometimes you might learn more than if you're taking a leading role in facilitating. If you just participate, pay attention, and try to take notes and take on board and then process and reflect. And then, the second go around, you might have added questions. You might be able to make much more informed contribution. And this lady, if I would be permitted to just reference her in that respect. But for clarity, here is someone not only with great expertise, but significant experience through her own training and her practice. And she said that she's been with 2 other colleagues monitoring some of the young people in her charge as students, as an individual who mentors these young people. Now, they are primarily young ladies. There are three, I think I understood her correctly, because sometimes these connections, they come and go. I think she said three young men, and there seemed to have been some discussion as to their particular mindset relative to how they see life and the like. But the young ladies in particular are finding from this particular professional and her two colleagues are seemingly no longer able to enjoy life as young people. They're taking on not just the woes and worries of adults, but their concerns of what their future is like. We'll come back to that, but let's go to our phones. We're always grateful to hear from our callers. Good afternoon, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hey, good afternoon, Sterling. How are you?
I am excellent. And in my mind, I played a quick game and I wonder who this caller would be. And I'm telling you, you were the first choice. The second one is your and my good friend. For some reason, it went to you, man. So, you know what? You play games sometimes, and you come out on top. Glad to hear from you, my friend.
You'd be surprised you come out victorious sometimes.
Always, man. Always.
Yeah. I just wanted to had mentioned two things today that have been on my mind. And one was the situation there with Mr. Raymond here on the block with his conditions of maintaining and for some sort of even a little payment here and there for the job that he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to listening to those gentlemen and the ladies yesterday on the talk show with I think they were on your talk show as well with the weather.
Right.
Yeah, and even so, I understand the position of these people because I've been in the emergency services and I understand. But to know that he could be an asset for the island as well because he reaches out so far for these ships that so far and that can give information and so forth. It's hard to know that we don't have the backing that someone could provide for him in this kind of situation. But we know that our own, my father always used to say, every muck on their own limb around here. So we understand that concept and we see it day by day with how we live, and we shouldn't be living like that. But it seemed like no one wants to reach out and help him. And it's sad. It makes me stop and think, are we really a helpful society? Are we just continuing to just chop and tear down our own kind, our own people? So much different situations I will listen to, hear the news that's going around for the Australian Islands, also in the States with the rebellion on the news and things regarding politics and the likes of everyone, even to right now this morning with in Britain, how in the Bullers business there with the Prime Minister and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
It's like nobody wants to sit back and try to put people in a place where they're comfortable. First of all, they put them there and then they turn around and say, maybe we made a mistake. We don't want that person. Let's get rid of them. It's so backbiting with everything that you can possibly mention today. Whether it's something that can easily be helped, or people could easily be helped. And what I'm trying to get at, we hear that same lady, Miss John, there mentioning about her taxi license. That should have been dealt with. That shouldn't even have been mentioned on the radio by her. To know that we have ministers in this country that could help, and we have people that can help, but yet our Cayman people still have to cry out. We have, again, Mr. Raymond, people that can help him, and still no one helping him. He has to cry out. I don't know why it is, Sterling, that we have to be compared to other countries and try to live the same way that other countries going through their problem. We're too small for that.
Mm-hmm. I was...
Sorry?
No, man, as I listen to what you're sharing, I'm wondering if it's, as we often hear, a prophet is not without honor save in his own country. The notion that we are our worst enemies. sayings like that, and your own flea bites you the hardest. And I wonder to what extent, as a people, whether we see ourselves as generational Caymanians, whether we just, as I try to do, look at it in the broad legal aspect that we're now Caymanian. Is this our home? Do we have the love and the respect for ourselves and for each other? And are we working diligently, willingly, lovingly, positively to bring the country up and its people? Or are we constantly allowing ourselves to be divided? And take it as you shared, Mr. Raymond, him and or others like him who are contributing. What is it that serves as an impediment to us either recognizing the contribution, rewarding it, respecting it, but also reaching out to make sure others share in the responsibility, and more importantly, right, serve as that thing that would inspire more of us to do right? Now, I have some particular views on it, and I wonder, not speaking to him specifically, right, just generally, I wonder if it is, as a people, we look at somebody, we know who they are, and we don't think they're deserving, we don't think they have sufficient credentials or qualifications, experience, expertise, whatever it is. And so instead of giving them that skill set, that training, that opportunity, we further not just marginalize, but we discard them, and we discard them in favor of some little old thing that washed up somewhere that wasn't nothing in the way it was, but we put them here on a pedestal. And I say that very deliberately, and hopefully it'll make some people kind of jump in their skin and say, but he said that. Because the problem is, we are unwilling to look in the mirror and see the ugly. We're willing to,
Yeah, and what you just said, Sterling, that sums it up. That's a mouthful right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know for certain that this man, Mr. Raymond, he can speak different languages. You don't find nobody today, especially that new regime that they form in Grand Cayman as the Coast Guard. I quite sure I can challenge any one of them to come out in the front on a radio and speak a different language in order to correspond. When you work for the Coast Guard, you're supposed to be able to be neutral in any type of language, as far as I know and as far as I have learned watching and listening to the Coast Guard of the United States, whether it's United States, whether it's Canada, it doesn't matter. Parts of Canada, I mean, because Canada, you got
right.
Alaska and all them is part of the United States. But we have people that just because where this man come from, people know him from the generations going now, and they just hold that against him for who he is. And this is what causing the hold down and the tear down for this man to receive help. If this man was somewhere else, automatically he would be noticed and recognized for what he does.
Quite possibly.
It's because of who he is and what they know him as, they don't want to help. And that is a sad situation, knowing that this man has a family.
Yeah. My friend, I don't want to do this to you. We do have the news break. A commercial break. We got two of the callers. Let's take them and then come back to you at some point, all right?
Yeah, man.
All right. Blessings to you, my friend. Blessings.
Yeah.
All right. Stay tuned. Join us after the break.
Vaccines are as important to your overall health as diet and exercise, like eating healthy foods, exercising, and getting regular checkups. Vaccines play a vital role in keeping you healthy. Vaccines are one of the safest preventative care measures available. Get up to date with vaccinations you or your children may have missed. Call the Public Health Department today on 244-2648 to schedule your appointment. This message is brought to you by the Public Health Department in conjunction with the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
The Cayman Pharmacy Group provides you with more than just prescriptions. We strive to make your health our concern. We recognize the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care. That is why we offer personalized one-on-one counseling. Our pharmacists are here to assist you with questions you may have about your health and the medications you've been prescribed. With West Bay Pharmacy and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, the Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. We care about your health.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Wednesday, April 26th is World Intellectual Property Day. It's a time to celebrate our creative minds, from musicians, songwriters, and authors to inventors, designers, painters, and so much more. Did you know that their creations, just like yours, can be protected by a patent, trademark, or copyright? Find out how to register and protect your intellectual property today. Visit the Cayman Islands Intellectual Property Office website at ciipo.ky for more information. That's ciipo.ky. It's your innovation, your creation, and your intellectual property. Protect it today.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. And always appreciate our last caller's contribution, sparking conversation, and hopefully we get to engage with him further. But a number of the callers have joined us, and with great respect to each and all, let's take this next caller's perspective. Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for calling. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Good to hear from you too, man. How are you today?
I'm doing good today. It's 420, so.
You know, it was only not long ago that I understood what I meant, you know.
Yeah,
So
but I'm happy you're learning it. Happy you're learning it. I would love it to be a national holiday, but until then.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I would like to just get a little bit more understanding about the legality of cannabis, right? And
Yeah,
the
man.
medical and recreational uses varies in countries, correct?
Yeah.
So the terms of it, possession, distribution, and cultivation, in regards to medical, it can be consumed, and what medical conditions it could be used for. These policies most countries are regulated by 3 United Nations treaties, right? Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs, Convention on Psychotropic Substances, and the Convention against illicit traffic and narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. Since it descheduling in 2020, cannabis is kind of classified as a Schedule 1 drug under the Single Convention Treaty, meaning that signatories can allow medical use, but that it is considered to be an active drug with a serious risk of abuse. But my point of it is, right, I looking at the map on the, because I like picture graphs, I don't like to just read.
Right.
To understand. And the way how I see it is that it's being pushed by something a little bit more weaker than what the rest of the world thinks. But do we all think like the same like the rest of the world? I mean, California, Canada, Mexico, and a little piece of Africa You got one side of Asia that got the somehow belief, and I would like to believe that that's somewhere down the Filipino line.
Right.
The thing I want to try and say is, right, there's places that are legal but decriminalized, and then there's places that are illegal but often unenforced. I would love to believe that came on. But if it was legal, I think that we would be like doing a whole lot better into the future, because instead of taking our minds on keeping people trapped and controlled by their rights, I don't think that that's nice. And I planning on going to California this summer, and I got yeah, I don't care anymore whoever they think about me about that. When I come back, I'm pretty sure I'm going to test positive if they want to try it out.
Well, listen. Whatever you do, right? I would invite you, as I would share with everybody that I care about, and everybody in general. Just be safe, be sensible, and be able to share, what you do in a way that is positive. So have a wonderful trip, but make sure you take good care of yourself. All right?
Right. I have another point on top of that point, though. It's very quick. It says on November 8, 2016, possession 64, the adult use of marijuana act passes by the 57% to 43 votes, legalizing the use, sale, and cultivation of recreational cannabis in California for adults 21 and over.
21, yeah, man. I'll pick up another point, right? Because I think that's where we're looking at it. You made me make some notes, and we'll maybe revisit it in a bit. But thank you. Let's take these other callers and hear what they have to share. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Hi, Sterling. How are you?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm good. So, I was listening to you with the caller for that gentleman. And, it come back to what we keep talking about. The rhetoric that we got in this country. The attitude towards each other. The division. We always used to say that it was going to always be the colonialism that would conquer and divide, right? But we have our own colonialists living in this country who's supposed to be Caymanians. And they use whatever they have, whatever means, whatever power, whatever affiliation. And it is the same thing over and over. And people are sitting suffering, children are suffering, people are being maligned, people are being injustices towards persons, but because this isn't like the state, this isn't like where you can go and you can file a suit, you can probably get assistance. People got rights with their children being used against them. It's like up to the other day I saw some court documents where the new method now is for people to come to agreements, right, which is excellent. These agreements now entail stuff as much as how you behave, how you speak, who speaks around the child, what you're allowed to speak around the child, who's allowed to care for the child when the parent can't take care of the child, or if the parent goes out. Specified times are specified. All kinds of stuff are now specified into these agreements. You see, if we have to get to a point in this country, and the only way that we can manage is to get where we got specified behaviors rather than be able for people to come together, that's a serious something, because these are two people who essentially were together, had a child or children, and are not so estranged, whether that is from their own doing or that's from family, that they can't even discuss their own child rearing.
I mean, the notion that we hear, you can't legislate for morality, but yet we seemingly want, through the courts in particular, to create something, as you said, that is so dispassionate that at the end of the day, we no longer have compassion, love, concern, or anything of any sort of humanity exhibited in our interactions with one another.
When we used to go to court before, and people went to get maintenance, and even then, I remember having to go through this 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you couldn't get visitation rights offered to some of the gentlemen. You couldn't enforce that they take their children. All you could do is go in there and get an order of maintenance. And even that, sometimes you never receive.
Right.
Then it was so menial and insignificant that what was the point? Then it became an abuse, because it then became the weapon of choice. And now we're at a stage where we're legislating through these documents. I call it legislating because it's now a binding document ordered by the court, which you must abide from. And if they don't have, or if they do have some form of penal attachment to it where you can get yourself in serious problems for non-abiding, then fine. But the problem is, why have we got to the point? What is it that we missed in the last 10 years or 15 years with child rearing? Why are young people so divided with themselves that they can't even partner with their partner or their ex-partner to just raise their children? What's the contention? But you see, the contention comes back to what I keep telling you. The contention comes back to what is being bred in society. And I don't mean breeding, because I hate that word when we refer to humans, because I ain't no animal and I don't breed.
Right, thank you.
If I have children, that's for something else. But that word breeding, no. But what we are breeding is this hatefulness towards each other, this level of
contempt.
So the only way to me to get resolution for a matter is to bring so much destruction to another human being. Now, in the last couple of weeks, right, we have ventured from the matter with the CIAA matter that went all over the place, with the Carifta, with another young man that's cycling. We have covered a lot. And in the midst of our whole CIAA, do you think that we had anything other than the destruction of other people in that? See, there were basis for the complaint. Yes? They're all aware from both sides. But what has ended up happening is, rather than focus on what the real issues were, we got into very, very, I don't even know there's a word to describe the indignation type of attack on persons. And then the public enjoyed it, and they sat there and they watched and they listened and they participated. And then when you look at how we expect to come out of that on a morning, get back into work and work with others and have that kind of stuff built. So you see, people talk about road rage. People talk about raising children. That agreement I spoke to you about, it's not being used across a multitude of cases, right? It seems to be a generalized type document to what I call legislate morality, in terms of this is how we think people should act, and so we're going to bind you into agreement that you must act this way. But where is the part that says we want to see love and compassion being exercised between the parties? We don't want to see everything out of it is, you may not speak ill of the other person in front of the children. If the children are to be kept, they must be kept by the parent first. The other parent must be notified if and when the parent can't help keep the child. And there must be something in writing for that parent to allow that child to sleep by a grandparent. For real? That's where we are now. We gone that far. So if something were to happen, you can't do anything until you have stuff agreed in writing. We're that egregious towards each other that people can't speak regularly and come to regular layman agreements between parties. And then we want to know why society can't function. If we have to legislate families and parents on how to raise and to interact with each other through a legally binding document, we missed the mark. We missed the mark a long time ago, and you can't expect them for them to look at people and to help those in need and to reach out that arm's length that we need, or to focus on what we have at hand within perhaps schools, within, take for example, and I jump in a little bit, but it all boils down to it. Right in the middle of Savannah Meadows, they have now decided to take out the overtaking opportunity between Lower Valley and Savannah Meadows. Why? Maybe they think it's going to cut down on speeding. I find that to be wrong, because yes, you don't want people overtaking coming down from Low Valley to Savannah because you're moving in from a 40 mile to a 30 mile. All right. But you see, when you're coming out of a 30 mile and you got people who just want to drive 30 miles per hour in a 30 mile, 40 mile zone, or 30 miles per hour in a 50 mile zone, and what you have done is eliminated every possibility of moving around an individual. Everybody will say, yeah, but can I stop you from... No, that don't stop people from speeding. That don't stop people from nothing. All that does is create an environment where these persons who believe that they are the running police, because the RCIPS don't have enough people.
Well, Yeah, sorry. Callers at midpoint, but let's take a break.
Ladies and gentlemen, after a 3-year hiatus, Junior Badabanu is back.
Look where we reach again.
That's right, the streets of Georgetown will come alive on Saturday, April 22nd, when Junior Badabanu will present colorful costumes with this year's theme, a hearing drums.
Look where we reach again.
The Family Fun Day will start at 2 p.m. with food, face painting, and much more. It's going to be a whole heap of fun for the entire family. Junior Badabanu Street Parade begins at 4 p.m. on Saturday from the lawns of the Glass House. Winds through the street of Georgetown and returns to the Glass House for the big finale and awards for the best Junior Badabanu bands. Come celebrate the juniors' unforgettable memories this Saturday at Junior Badabanu Street Parade. Sponsored by Cayman National, Saxon, Cayman Airways, Pepsi, RBC, the Department of Tourism, and Radio Cayman.
Here at Savannah Pharmacy, our pharmacists do a lot more than just count out your pills and fill prescriptions. They undergo extensive education in the study of how the human body uses and responds to medicine. They have also built up years of experience in real-life counseling on how to take medication safely. Our pharmacists are on the front lines in keeping our society healthy. Don't risk it or hesitate. Contact us or schedule a consultation with one of our pharmacists today. At Savannah Pharmacy, we care about your health.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointments.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
They say variety is the spice of life. And that's why at Subway, we are introducing the new Boneless Hot Sub.
Say what?
The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new Boneless Hot Sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. Become a member today. With 6 flexible life cycle funds, we help you plan for financial security in retirement. We keep our members informed with the plan's performance through quarterly fund fact sheets. We have an all-in expense ratio of 0.75%, over 16,000 members, and 337 million CI dollars in assets under management. If you would like to join or require further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. Become a member today. The Department of Environmental Health would like to advise the public that in order to prepare for hurricane season, this year's bulk waste collection will take place in May, replacing the traditional year-end collection. Residents are urged to prepare and separate their items ahead of the week assigned for collection in their respective areas. Any bulk waste that is put out after the announced dates will not be collected. Household appliances, furniture, and other items too large to be handled by the weekly DEH collection crews should be placed by the roadside where it is easily accessible to DEH collection crews. Metals and vegetation should also be separated from other bulk items. Do not obstruct the roadway or storm drains or place tires, construction and demolition waste, hazardous materials, or electronics. For more information on the bulk waste collection, please contact DEH's Solid Waste Management Section at 949-6696.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon, welcome back. And thank you to for allowing us to quickly interject with that. Really appreciate your being so amenable. Let's return to the caller and then take the other one after. Hey, welcome, good afternoon.
Hi,
Yeah.
Earlier.
Sorry, Molly.
No
Yes, ma'am.
problem. I didn't mind. I was just saying that it's just a multitude of stuff that I see that we're trying to correct.
Right.
As if you can legislate behavior. You can legislate offenses, and as a result of breaking an offense or creating an offense or doing something that is of an offense, you can be punished. But you can't legislate behavior, which is the same reason you can't legislate through morals, because they don't make no sense.
Right.
You can't look at two parents and say, you all can only have these discussions in writing. You all can't say. Why aren't we putting these parents into proper classes where they work together?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about this thing about, let's go do these what do you call it? It's a class where
Parenting classes or something?
it's a parenting, but it's where you have co-parenting.
Oh, yeah.
You have the other party. I don't think you need the other party. I think you need the two parents and the children to work through the differences that they're having before you bring in the co-parenting, because the co-parenting always have their own view. Because they're already biased to the other party, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the driving. I was talking about them taking out an overtaking zone, but yet you're not going to see the police out there ticketing those persons who are intentionally hired themselves as the road police, who take their cameras, which I don't understand, view everybody, report it as if they're paid to do this, maybe they are, and then turn around and we have them breaking the law because they choose to drive below the speed limit just in case they can get somebody overtaken. For real?
Mm-hmm.
You got people going up on Spot Street. We have one external outside road besides the internal. I don't need to drive the internal road because I don't live in that jurisdiction. I have had to take it. But you go on Spot and you can go on that anytime, and you got people driving 30 miles an hour. Why?
Yeah.
I just want to know. They're not going to limit any accident. No, there's no proving nothing about that by driving below the speed limit. Because all you do is, on a small island like this, is you just create more havoc. Yeah. So when they talk about they've had so many accidents and they've had all of these things, what is the basis of the accident? Why are the accidents happen? Are they related to drunk driving? If it is, why? What else it is that we can do?
You're right.
But, it's like when you go to breakers, they're sitting at the edge of breakers with a speed gun to see if you're going to come out of the speed zone exactly at 30 and enter it and then speed up to 50, or you're going to come out at 50, break your neck, and stop at exactly the speed sign at 30.
Right,
What's
right.
the point of that?
Yeah.
And I keep asking these questions. But
Well,
you see, until we have until our agenda changes in this country, until our agenda gets to where we're not happy about tearing each other down, taking one Caymanian, plugging them against the other one, and then everybody decides this one is wrong, this one don't have no basis, so let us tear, castigate, rub through the ground, and everybody okay. And then when you had your chance to say everything you thought you had a right to say, we all move on with our lives, and the person that you just tore down then has to take and put their life back together because you don't have no conscience about what you said.
Yeah. You make valid points and certainly raise a lot of questions that shouldn't go unanswered. Hey, thanks very much for sharing, all right?
Yeah, I understand. I'm just saying, our government needs to do better.
Yeah. Well, I think it's, the government's action should be the collective voice of the people, and we as people need to be more willing to engage. Hey, thanks again, all right?
And if the government don't step up and say we're not going to tolerate this, we've seen this carry on for a long time. We've seen this matter being discussed publicly in open forum. We think it has gone too far. It has now got to where it's attacking persons, it's tearing down reputations, it's doing all of these stuff. That's not the way we should be handling our affairs. And now all of our affairs have gone public in terms of they have exceeded our jurisdiction. And why is that?
It's, yeah.
You know how I feel, because it was done to me and my family on the basis of nothing other than propaganda.
Yeah. You are right.
Anyway, Dwayne, I appreciate your time, but you really all, going forward as a country, and I'm going to keep saying this until the Lord take whatever breath I have left. And so far, he hasn't taken that breath. So there has to be reason I'm here. But I'm going to continue to advocate against this type of unscrupulous behavior. I'm going to advocate that the government takes a stand, that they too decide we can't go and punish particular legislators for unscrupulous behavior, as they call it, but yet we participate in that on the outside, yeah?
That lack of participation in an active, proactive way makes sense. Thank you very much. I hope that raises a much potential positive discussion. Let's go to the news. Join our callers when we return.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. Radio Cayman on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Cayman Islands has been given priority consideration for storm surge modeling under a United States Agency for International Development program to advance early warnings of storm surges and strengthen preparedness across the Caribbean. In international news, Elon Musk's SpaceX company's mammoth new rocket Starship has exploded on its maiden flight. No one was hurt in the uncrewed test that lifted off from Texas's east coast. After around 3 minutes into the flight, the rocket, the biggest ever developed, started to tumble out of control and was destroyed, most probably by onboard charges. Mr. Musk has said his company will try another launch in a couple of months. Google has been ordered to pay a prominent Canadian businessman $500,000 for failing to remove a defamatory search result of his name. The man, whose identity is under a publication ban, sued Google for sharing a link to a post that falsely accused him of being a pedophile. The plaintiff claimed his life and business suffered significantly as a result. Google has refused to comment on the case. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The Headline News, Health Services Authority.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Born in Creek, Cayman Brac on the 25th of September 1939, Henry Mansfield Connolly was the third of 8 children for Henry Kitchener and Olive Connolly, an experienced seaman with 30-plus years with national bulk carriers and doing ship-to-ship oil transfers off the Brac during the 1980s. He was also the founder of C&H Plumbing and an original band member of the famous Brac Beach Boys. During his time home from sea, he studied the art of catboat making and assisted his late grandfather-in-law, Mr. Arthur Dilbert, with the building of many catboats. Mr. Connolly loved serving in the community and was a volunteer during hurricane emergencies and assisted with the hurricane preparations, especially seeing to the safety of the elderly and the community. He would often share his fishing catch with friends and neighbors and bring Christmas gifts for the elderly. He was married to Elmitha Dilbert for 60 years and has 4 children, 5 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land.
Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks very much for joining us. It's open line. Let's go back to our phones. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon again, Sterling.
Welcome back again, man. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, man, thanks. Appreciate it. I was just listening to that young man that I was talking to. I just want to give him some advice and tell him vengeance is not his. He shouldn't get angry and destroy his life just to prove something to the laws, because why I got to say to him and the lady that just spoke, and she spoke very strongly. You know, this word sums up both of what they were talking about. Sterling, the system, that word system, is not for the Caymanians. It is not for the Caymanians. Anyone hearing what I'm saying need to understand the system is not there to help Caymanians. It's there to go against us in no matter what form or fashion. That is not implemented for the people of the Cayman Islands. That is why we struggle every day with situations and things can't be dealt with, because the system does not implement around the people of this country. They do not require taking care of the people of this country. And getting back to the situation of what I was speaking about with Mr. Raymond, all of that falls around the reality of this tear-down sector of the Caymanians' lifestyle that forms around certain individuals, doesn't want to help because of who this man is. Sterling, I don't want to hang on that too long because it was two things I wanted to speak about. But I get very distorted knowing that our own people can't help our own people. And I will give you an example of how much our system, the system is what I was referring to the young man and to the lady that called. Our system, and I can show you why it's not for the Caymanians. My brother had a young little son that he was bringing from Honduras some years ago, and he wanted to put the young man the little boy into school. He struggled for about 2 years to get the little boy into school, and numerous amount of children came from my father talk about southeast of that bluff. If you know where that is, you know where I'm talking about. They came into the system when the school closed for the summer, which was back then was June. Not talking about COVID time, and they were open in September. And those little ones that came from southeast of that bluff was able to get into the school system. Came September, they were into the system of the education schools. Our country is designed, our laws in our country is designed to hold down, and I don't care which representative want to hear what I say and disagree and call me or ring my phone and shout me out that their problem. But I know how it is from being in government, and they will chop down anything that you have in this country as a Caymanian. That is why today we have to prove that we are Caymanians. The system does not protect us. It is not for us. And until the people of the Cayman Islands realize that it's why we are in a mess, that system can't and it won't be changed. We need to stand up and be like those people in France. If we don't start protesting against the things that is laid down against the people, we are not going to be, as keep saying it, Sterling, we are going to be like stagnant water. We are not going to be no good. And this is where things come in. And I want to finish with my last topic that I wanted to mention to you about, Sterling. I think I said it both on OC show some weeks ago, and I think I started to say it on yours, and I don't think I finished. Regarding our heroes, Sterling, do you realize that the heroes for Kim and Brock is not, and here we use this word again, is not into the system. Listen to the four that is into the system that they can find files on. Reverend Lee King, Charles Gerald Cocornell, Charles Leonard Cocornell, Captain Mabry Silsberg Cocornell. They are the only four. One of the main men, now there's a lot they're missing, but one of the main men that they're missing out of that, Sterling, is Captain Keith Tibbetts, that took the Cayman Islands the way it is today, that stopped us from going under Jamaica and being a country of how Jamaica is today. That is why Cayman is free. To the point that of where we are today was through one man that took the stand and went to Grand Cayman and signed the forms and the papers to keep the Cayman Islands away from where we would have been down in a trench today that we couldn't dig ourselves out of. And that was Captain Keith. Not even recognized as a national hero. Sterling, not got nothing against the people of Grand Cayman.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope nobody misread me wrong. But we have in our schools here on the block plaques on the walls, painted. A wall painted with national heroes. Sterling, listen good to me. There are not one national hero on the wall painted in Cayman Brac schools, the primary schools or the high school, that has a Cayman Braca on it. All the heroes on the wall are from Grand Cayman. Not one Cayman Braca is on that wall to represent that the children can see
their own.
The Cayman Braca, their own. That is a disgrace and a downright shame to know that they are the kind of people that we fall under. That is what I'm talking about with the system. That is how much the system is for the Cayman Brackers. We are not here to be protected. We are here to be taken out bit by bit for us to be exempt. That is the motto of people being in power, is to exempt us. If you want to take it for example, Sterling, take for instance the Philippines, all of those countries. Their government is not for the people. They have to pay for medical. The only thing our government gives us here are these things. But upon that, it coming to a point of time where they're going to take it back, because we are going to soon be taxed to the point that we can't pay. We see Cayman Brac right now.
Mm-hmm.
Sterling, all of a sudden the gas price going up again.
You know, as I listen to you, thank you for that, and respectfully, let us take the other caller and reflect on the fact that, as he's sharing, it's important that we respect and recognize our own. Thanks very much, my friend. Respectfully, let us take this next call. Good afternoon, welcome, thanks for calling. Hello.
Good Sterling, and good afternoon to the listening audience in the Cayman Islands, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman. This is Minister Kenneth Bryan.
Afternoon, Honorable Minister. How are you?
I'm not too bad, Dwayne. Thank you so much. I called in to speak about a public meeting that the government is having tonight in my constituency of Georgetown. But I think I have to chime in a little bit on the last caller. He's a man that I know very well. Somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I understand being here, his struggle and being of a lot of things he talks about.
Yeah, Honorable Minister, we are having your words sort of intermittent, so we're missing some. If perchance you're on a speaker, otherwise I'm told that may affect the clarity of the call.
Sorry, I didn't hear anything you just said.
Yeah, well, we're missing you as well, sir. While we ask Ms. Susan to see if we can get that connection a little bit better, for those who are joining us now, the Honorable Tourism Minister joins us via the phone. And of course, he'll share what he wants, but on his behalf and the government, there is a meeting this evening at Georgetown Central Midterm Public Meeting is being advertised this evening, 7 p.m. and it's going to be on Seafarers Way, so right next to the Royal Water Terminal and town. Nice waterfront venue. Public is invited, and as it's being termed, the midterm public meeting. So hopefully we can have the Honourable Minister reconnected. It's just challenging sometimes how. Well, you know, for those of us who subscribe to coincidences, then there's some who don't. We're now told all the callers are kaput, out, off. Hey, maybe sometimes we're saved from our own endeavors. Sometimes there are intervening gremlins that may impede what otherwise could be a beneficial conversation. All right, the phones are lighting up as Miss Susan navigates the pathways. Hopefully, we'll be able to orchestrate the next caller and have it. Sometimes it's best to give greater thought to what one may choose to enunciate in a public forum. For those who want to join, though, keep trying. 949-8037, 949-6990. And Susan is instructing. Let me see if I can engage in some level of soliloquy while she does the background technical part. Patience, they say, is a virtue. They say never pay for, patience, because you might experience a certain level of anxiety and otherwise. But while we do that, and again, to both the Honourable Minister and the other callers, sincerest apologies for that seemingly inability to make a clear connection so that we can have our callers connect with us and share their perspective. The last caller was indeed the Honourable Tourism Minister. Let's read from one of our messages that came through during a caller or two or three prior. It says, confusion now reigns here. The church is shamefully mute outside of their sanctuary fortresses. Basic sermons and Bible studies with light, refreshing word would do so much, even to lift spirits and encourage parents and kids alike. Apostate churches and now reign. Cayman has willingly created a Babel society, a Babel state, in spite of the many warnings and examples of what to and not to do as humans and parents. Just wait until we get to the 100,000 people population, and that start to multiply exponentially as people want to do. Interesting perspective. Now, as she returns to site and places, her skills to the instruments before her to ensure that the calls are connected, I'm instructed to ensure that we share something insightful and meaningful. But let me revisit what was shared earlier and expand somewhat and take possibly insight from what some of our callers have shared and ask, are we as a people continually putting the cart before the horse? Are we asking ourselves what are the implications of what our actions, not just today or 4 years from today, but 40 years from now? We ask ourselves, in the scheme of things, that societies that may have 100-year-old or 1,000-year-old structures, and they can look to their history, are we prepared to make that level of sacrifice? Are we at a space and a place where we enjoy what we have because our parents and their parents' were willing to do likewise, to appreciate that through service and sacrifice they'd have a level of commitment to future generations? Or are we people who see the wonderful ripe mango tree at the tip top, and in order to get it, instead of finding a way to safely navigate the tree to ensure that it'll bear fruit for many seasons, or instead we'll take an axe or a bulldozer and knock it down and destroy every other fruit to get that one? Alright, well, we're told, ask our callers once again, 949-6990, 949-8037, or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. I must commend Susan for having to expand her skills, but beyond her wonderful gifting of music, to now expand into being the on-air technician as well, and offer up, as she has shared with us, our apologies as to what transpired and inability to connect the callers. The Honourable Minister was on, and he was about to perhaps engage in other discussion, but he had shared prior to the unfortunate disconnection or challenge to hear clearly what he was sharing, that there is a meeting this evening in Seafarers We. She's doing her magic, boy. Woe be unto us who otherwise interfere diligently into the lives of those who desire greatness. And instead of drawing alongside and helping, we do as much to hinder. Well, what befalls us will indeed do so. Are we going to be on the right side of not just this vote, but those to come, and will generations hereafter ask, have we done the right thing because it was the right thing to do? Start working, Miss Susan? All right. Well, again, thank to Miss Susan. Find out something has just transpired in her phone system. Isn't it beautiful how technology has enslaved many of us? And as the wonderful lady through her intellect was sharing, that maybe we have relegated our thoughts to the written word and not through mediation on two civil parties trying to find what's the best way forward. We leave it for third parties and sometimes the courts to intervene. Thankfully, we have not just the competence but the confidence in our judiciary. But implicit in what was shared, have we now come to a place in a society where we no longer, in a civilized, sensible way, be able to engage in meaningful discussion and dialogue in order to come to some sensible decisions, and instead let it be arbitrated through some means that in this instance, once it's a court document, it becomes binding, and in the absence of following what is agreed, you can find yourself in contempt, and that can have consequences. All right, apologies. So we have now have some issues with the phone, so our only alternative, I'm told, is record a voice note, 925-3261, and we play it for you. I'm not going to endeavor to sing. I mean, I'll do that when I'm in the shower. But publicly, I don't know that your day is that bad that you need to have that much of a laughter at my attempt at some, comforting sonnet. Although I could try, Miss Susan, between the two of us, either a poem of sorts, let thine heart exhibit what thine eyes desire, let thy foot take thee where thy path want to go. Listen, we live in a wonderful place, and I would probably say this is where I earn my money. The big bucks that they pay me, man, to do this here. It truly is an honor, though, to facilitate, and hopefully she'll get that phone connection back up. To all callers, and to the callers specifically, to the minister specifically, our sincerest apologies. I'm not sure what transpired, but it has impacted our ability to take calls directly. So if you wish and you are okay with recording the voice note, we'll play it for you. 925-3261 is that line. It's the WhatsApp line. It's just a voice note. And we see the phones lighting up. We were able to try it. We're trying it. Told nothing beats a try but a failure. Now, to the callers who were collectively perhaps singing from the same hymnal and asking, where's the unity in this community? Where's the sense of semblance of integrity and sensibilities in terms of being positioned and willing and courageous to do the right thing? And where is the leadership? Not necessarily relegating that to those we've elected and or appointed, but to ourselves, primarily as voters, not just during an election campaign or a vote on a referendum, but as voters that, because we've attained the age of majority, because we have seemingly been imbued with a sense of responsibility, that we're going to exercise the authority that comes with a registered voter, and that we should be cognizant of what is transpiring in the society to the extent that we can make a meaningful contribution. But also, we should accept that if the democracy is to be championed and healthy, we need to participate. And we probably could find it quite easy to point fingers and castigate, malign sometimes share a view that, oh, it's them, and we may talk about special interests and lobbyists and all these things, and whether we point fingers to jurisdictions that have trade unions and talk about the labor and like, or institutions that may have chambers of commerce and the like, and talk about the business, as one caller has apt to describe it, the businessman's trade union. Or we may point fingers at some professional entity, whether it's financial services or law or medicine or some other professional association who, through their collective voice, is trying to bargain and lobby for protection for its own sector or promotion of some policy that would assist its membership. Now, most people would probably say they're only concerned about the thing that affects them immediately, directly, and then. But if we only concern ourselves with that, and at that time when it affects us then, really, is that doing anything for posterity, for society's continued stability? And where is the sense of service that we may feel is necessary in order for society to continue, so the future generations can look at least with a sense that we tried. Now, that would not only benefit future generations, but that would benefit us now, and that would also benefit us who are now, if we're given the privilege to live until such time as the future would allow. Now, saying that may cause many of us to think that we should just live in the moment and enjoy it now, since nobody's promised tomorrow. But take, for instance, the example of the tree with the wonderful, ripe, beautiful, delicious little tasting mango, and you want it, and you have many options, and it's limited to 2. You can find a way to navigate the tree to pick it so that the tree exists to bear fruit for many seasons, or you can take the balloons and knock it down and get the mango then and there. Which would be the sensible thing to do? Some of us would say, well, obviously, you knock the tree down and get that mango now before someone else comes along. And some would say, well, if you take care of the tree, you'll have the fruit for many seasons. What are we doing? And that could be the literal tree. It could be the beach and beach access and the vistas that we would get from the scenic drive. It may be that practice that we may have as people when it comes to our behaviors with each other. It may be the desire to not only assemble and demonstrate publicly in a civil, sensible, responsible way that you want this thing to continue because it makes sense despite the loud clamoring of maybe large numbers or a small vocal group. Or it may be something that you say, wait a minute, that's not good. We're not going to stand for that. And our presentation is such that we want, through this active, visible demonstration, for you to appreciate that it's not what we like. You can have much discussion and opinion relative to what's transpiring, but take, for instance, in France, as a society, it's decided that we don't like what is being considered and proposed, so therefore we're going to make it known. Now, you may ask yourselves, well, why is it that the supposedly established media has taken so long, almost 4 months before it's become that thing that is public, when in the early days it was there available if you wish to see it, and those who subscribed and were cognizant were probably being maligned for subscribing to something that was real. Well, who is to say what's real anymore? Let's pause. Let's take the break. Let's see if the phone lines are resolved. If not, we have the excellent company of Mr. Philip Richter, who's going to join us in the studio. I have to wonder sometimes. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
The application deadline for Education Council local scholarships for the 2023-2024 academic year is Sunday, 30th of April, 2023. To apply for an Education Council local scholarship, please visit the Ministry of Education's scholarship application portal at moescholarships.gov.ky or email the Scholarship Secretariat Unit at scholarships@gov.ky to learn more. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education's Scholarship Secretariat Unit.
Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and respiratory illnesses are among the top causes of death in Cayman every year. From June 3rd until July 31st, the Ministry of Health and Wellness will conduct the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey to better understand the prevalence of non-communicable diseases within our nation. Log on to www.gov.ky/steps to learn more.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Ensuring your existing appliances and equipment are cleaned and maintained regularly is an easy way to improve energy efficiency in your home.
Have your air conditioning equipment serviced by a professional. Make sure bathroom and kitchen exhaust fans and refrigerator coils are cleaned regularly, because the harder your appliances have to work, the higher your bills will be.
The do-it-yourself energy audits on energy.gov.ky make it easy to find ways to save energy and money in your home or business.
Complete an energy audit of your home or business before 31st of May 2023 to be entered into a prize giveaway. Prizes include a $5,000 gift certificate to Home Gas and gift certificates to Cooling Pros, Foam Pros, Costyless, and Foster's.
To learn more, visit energy.gov.ky today and follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram.
Are you seeking a bargain on furniture and household goods? Well, stop by the garage sale at 137 Couture Street off Walkers Road, 7 a.m. until 2 p.m. Friday and Saturday. From living room furniture, clothing, house and kitchenware, 5-yard landfill going cheap, and a 2022 Honda HDR LX. Everything must go. This weekend, it's happening. It's the garage sale at 137 Couture Street off Walkers Road. If you need additional information, you can call 925-2705. Just to let you know, Radio Cayman is experiencing difficulties with her telephone line. If you need to get a voice note, we're asking you to send a voice note to our WhatsApp number 925-3261 if you need to get a voice note into the Talk Today.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. As you heard Ms. Susan just remind the listeners, apologies for the inability at present to you call us directly and share with us. We know the Honourable Minister was relaying some information before he could even get 2 words in, seeing that there was a challenge. But so be it sometimes. Huh? Well, I'm honoured. If you join us on YouTube, if you watch us on Facebook and where else, we have Mr. Philip Richter who's going to join us. And if you want to contribute in the absence of being able to call directly, the voice note option exists. 925-3261. Mr. Richter, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, pull one. Let's see which one.
Hello?
Works.
Here we go. Here we go.
There we go.
Good afternoon, Sterling. Good afternoon, people of the Cayman Islands. Hope you're having a great Thursday, the 20th of April.
Amen.
How are you doing today?
April the 20th, huh? 420.
Yeah? Yes, sir.
Yeah, all right.
What an interesting day in counterculture.
Yeah. I won't even venture down that path because speak not to which that does not know. But there's so much happening though around the world. If you would be willing to be attentive,
yeah,
there's a lot happening here. And I invite you to share with me, and through you, maybe to engage and to learn as we listen and ask questions and seek knowledge, right?
And that's most important. We should always listen. And well, that's what's the expression? You have two ears and one mouth for a reason. You should listen to what people have to say and then engage in dialogue. I think dialogue is very healthy.
Mhm.
How else? We don't know everything. It's impossible to know everything. That's why AI was invented, so that we can figure out everything. But we still don't know, because there's an infinite amount of questions we can ask that program. We can get into AI later.
I'm happy to engage, right?
But with that being said, no one has the right answers, right? And I think, but we can get close to the right answers by asking questions and challenging weak points or all points in someone's statement, argument, discussion, and whatnot. That's how we grow and that's how we learn. And education is the great equalizer.
It is, it's empowering, but it equalizes. And I think as I listen to you, I'm asking us as people, on an individual basis, in the quiet of our own minds, to be pensive, reflective, introspective. And then as we meet with our spouses, partners, children, siblings, colleagues, that we are willing to engage in dialogue.
Yes.
That we listen and that we ask. And it's not just about being accommodating or even more so, tolerant. It's about deliberately questioning each other's point of view, but respectfully. A growing concern that I think we should have as a society is, are we now at a space in human history where no longer we accepting another's opinion? If the two individuals not on the same page, they never talk. And
tribalism.
To me, that's not just disheartening and divisive. That is destructive.
It keeps us divided. And when we are divided, we can easily be conquered. And when we're divided, tribalism on a whole, it's a dangerous game. Because if you're on Team A and you disagree with Team A, say you're on Team A because you disagree with Team B, but you're disagreeing with the way Team A is going, well, you're a man without a country. Now, you're ostracized from one side and the other, because instead of engaging dialogue, you're just engaging in name-calling and slander, because nobody wants to be unpopular. Nobody wants to be unliked. Well, very few people, right? But I would say the majority want to feel accepted and loved. So with tribalism now, it's like you have to stay in line just to be accepted and fit in. And that, if we look at history, that can lead to bad things.
Yeah.
Does World War II ring a bell? But tribalism is not a good thing. I do think and agree. One thing that's great about mediums like talk radio is that you can engage in dialogue and discussion, and hopefully the phone lines do come back on so we can hear some outside views as well. Because again, as I've said before, and I'll say again, nobody has the right answer. But through questions and dialogue, we will, I would say, have a better appreciation for each other's viewpoints, and it makes us more respectable to one another and not isolated in our ideological silos.
A gentleman that's not only of strong intellect, but as I engage more and more, I'm honored to have had the opportunity to listen, to learn. He says something, immigration without integration leads to colonization, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and as insightful and instructive as it is, I wonder how many of us actually take it on board. And it's through any means, not just, the basic sort of dictionary definitions of the words, and looking at immigration as, coming into a country, but to what point when we go into a space, how do we acclimate, how are we welcome, how are we invited to participate, and do we come in, as some would say, trying to lord it over us and change the environment? And as you were sharing, I'm looking at the global landscape, whether it's the socioeconomic implications of public policies from world governments, whether it's the geopolitical landscape relative to wars, or the practices of large conglomerates, or even cartels. Now, that's a word that we like to use when it comes to illicit activity.
Right.
But do we look at it from the perspective of seemingly regulated activities like financial services or oil production or even some relative to food service sectors, right?
Critics of OPEC call OPEC the OPEC cartel.
Is it not what it is?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's interesting that, and I deliberately use that word cartel, and asking us, are we prepared to be able to have a dissenting view? I've always shared that in reading law reports, it's great to have the judgment delivered, but is there a particular, when it was the House of Lords in particular as the highest court, to have that leading judge, Lord Deming comes to mind, who says, my learned colleague said this, but here's what I think and why I think it. And at some points that became so influential that it may lead to the House of Lords eventually overturning a previous ruling. But even if it didn't, the intellect, the insightfulness, the courage to share that perspective, I'm sure it happens, in the U.S. Supreme Court as well with those justices over the year. But since I'm a British system, I'm more familiar with that. Are we willing to listen to that dissenting view and to respect it, but also respectability for that person to have a dissenting view?
I would say, Number one, Number two, over time, it is now, if we look at Western world culture and the export that is Western world influence on everyone else's culture, which is another topic we can get into.
Yes.
At the time we were united, let's look at U.S. politics. At a time, 80s, 90s, right, Democrats and Republicans could live side by side, could communicate. Yes, you had your areas and whatnot, but you were more. It was like a friendly rivalry. It wasn't serious as it is today, where it's tribal lines.
Tribal war.
And tribal war. And
what's that song? Tribal war. Come on, Susan, how go? What's that song? Tell me that. She know it, man. She might recognize my singing.
Where we are at now, one could say, and I'll say it, you could look at the U.S. political system, or the politics, Democrats versus Republican, the way things are going, the way they treat each other in the media, as somewhat of a Cold War. They demonize each other. They take clips of the person, right? Let's say you watch a Senate debate, right? The Democrats will take Republican sound bites, put them somewhat out of context, make them look silly, put some headlines like Representative so-and-so looks foolish on the floor, right? And the Republicans will do the same thing as the Democrats. So not only are we not listening to each other, but we're demonizing what they have to say fresh off the bat. We're not allowing people to hear the full debate and go, oh, that was a great point from, Representative Peter the Rabbit, right? No, it's like instantly, fresh off the bat, I'm given this information about Peter the Rabbit, Senator Peter the Rabbit, as a imbecile, right? Fresh off the bat. I don't even have to click on the video, and the headline or the video clip already incites.
But it's in
that he is that I because of the tribe that I am in, we the tribe believe that Senator Peter the Rabbit is an imbecile, and therefore we don't have to listen to him because we the tribe just say that blanket statement. And that does not get us united. That furthers the divide. And that is sad.
So I wonder to what extent, listening to you share that, that the fourth estate, the media, has abdicated its responsibility. Right?
Oh, the media.
And I'm hoping that this is said not just respectfully and accurately, but with a view to encourage people to consider and its veracity, but more important, what it means for us as a people. So I love to cook, but I never call myself a chef, simply because I've never had that formal training, whether it is through academic and or apprenticeship. I've looked at recipes and
Food Network.
Yeah, Emil Lagasse and Giada Durantes, my friends, man. So I love that foray into the kitchen, right?
Right.
But if you're a journalist, in my view, right, that is probably one of the most honorable professions because you're objective, you're impartial. You try to make sure that your professionalism not only is in your presentation and whether it's in written or spoken, but it's done with a view to inform, not to influence. And yet, in societies, we're okay with the media to be the talking heads for some stupidness, right? Without any semblance of objective, and not the opinion piece that is being shared by whomever, but by this idiot who is paid billions of dollars to say nonsense, right? And it's causing us to be so divided that we no longer are able to be constructively critical of the commentary.
That goes to tribalism and fueled by ideology, because these people think this way. They don't need to be paid to think this way.
Yeah.
They agree, this is our way of life. They are infringing our way of life. Therefore, our reporting will lean to support us and demonize.
Let me ask, and I'm told now that we have a fantastic team here. I mean,
yes, we
you
do.
see, without question, their complete dedication and professionalism during times of national importance, whether it's an impending storm, whether it's the general elections. We see the commitment.
Yes.
But if they don't mind, I'd like to publicly commend them. You saw them scurrying about the place, trying to figure out what happened to their phones and going beyond their published job description. Hey, we can't have this happen. So I'm told now that we've done something. The green wire connects to the red wire. Please try the phone line and see if they're working. Thanks to I won't call them by name, but to everybody who tried to figure out where and what happened. 949-8037, 949-6990. See if you get through. Susan will answer, and if you got chocolate, you'll get to the front of the line. No, just kidding. 1-800-534-8255, our normal numbers. Give us a shout if you want to share. And thanks, Philip Richter, for joining us.
Hey, no problem.
But as I was just sort of considering where we are in human history at this time, and wondering to what extent we take the individual, let's say it's the student in primary school, high school, college, right? Who has a question, who may consciously, deliberately say, well, let me start a pot and ask, the question to the teacher, whether that's a professor at the graduate level, whether that's the child who's just, kindergarten or whatever it's called these days, and says, this was said, but what if it's this? Are we willing to embrace that child's propensity to question, to be the critical thinker, or are we going to castigate, even from that early age? Listen now, here is the script, and this is the propaganda we're going to promote, and if you say anything differently, you're a troublemaker, and we're going to send you to, what's a nice way to put it? I don't want to use what?
The corner.
Yeah, no, I was going to even go further than that,
The gulag.
Remember the Canadians with their residential schools for the native, so you can be rehabilitated and re-educated, right?
Yeah.
We've done that in all sorts of ways, right? We even had it to the extent where we annihilated, people, and we nicely call it ethnic cleansing in recent times, right?
It's the nice way to put it.
Yeah, we don't want to call it what it is.
A genocide.
Yeah. So in asking that, I'm asking us as an individual, are we willing to stand in the gap? Are we willing to be courageous and to say, you know what, you're not following what should be accepted, and let's see.
There's a lot to unpack here. A lot. Loads, frankly. Where to begin? Number one, who are these people to say what is right and what is wrong? I think that goes to ideology focused rather than just, let's just make students, let's question things, let's do that. Because in the past, you would hear, like, things of you ever see, like, those documentaries of famous people, and then they go to, like, the school, and he's like, how was he or she as a student? And they're like, oh, he's really inquisitive, and right?
Yep.
But they just let that, that's this person. Some people are naturally athletic. Some people are naturally inquisitive. They just let that person be. So I would say is, number one, where does that person get the cojones to say, no, that's bad?
I like how we do it in society. Yeah? Those of us who are not fluent in Spanish, if we use the word, they're still saying it, but we won't say it in English. But it goes undetected, even from a parliamentarian. So. Me, asshole.
I use the word stones next time. But yeah, where does that person, have the gall to say, no, I am the arbiter of the future, and I decide that you, impressionable young mind, have to think this way. I mean, what's his name? Gaddafi had his green book.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to indoctrinate the youth to be lifelong supporters of him.
Yeah.
And then when they grow up, they're all under his indoctrination, and then their kids would be, and so on and so forth.
All right. So, Philip, we're going to take a quick break.
All right.
We're hoping that the phone lines are up and running, and if you're calling, Try it this way. 949-6990, 949-8037, or toll free at 1-800-534-8255.
Looks like they're going through
If it don't work, then you can only WhatsApp or send a voice note at 925-3261. We can't answer that number on air just yet. Soon come though. All right, join us after the break. During the commercial break, Phil and I are going to rehearse our song. No, just kidding. We're not going to do that. Join us after the break.
Ladies and gentlemen, after a 3-year hiatus, Junior Badabanu is back.
Look where we reach again.
That's right. The streets of Georgetown will come alive on Saturday, April 22nd, when Junior Badabanu will present colorful costumes with this year's theme, A Hearing Drums. The Family Fun Day will start at 2 p.m. with food, face painting, and much more. It's going to be a whole heap of fun for the entire family. Junior Badabanu Street Parade begins at 4 p.m. on Saturday from the lawns of the Glass House. Winds through the street of Georgetown and returns to the Glass House for the big finale and awards for the best Junior Badabanu bands. Come celebrate the juniors' unforgettable memories this Saturday at Junior Badabanu Street Parade. Sponsored by Cayman National, Saxon, Cayman Airways, Pepsi, RBC, the Department of Tourism, and Radio Cayman.
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
It's pretty tasty.
Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist. Or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce, all piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Are you tired of waiting in long lines at the pharmacy just to fill a prescription?
If what, child, let me tell you.
Well, now you can save time and money with ValueMed's online prescription service. Visit ValueMed's new website, valrx.com, and click the Refill Subscriptions button. Fill in your information and choose your preferred pickup location. Or email your prescription refills for ValueMed Walkers Road at rx-wr@valrx.com, and for ValueMed in Boddentown, email rx-bt at valrx.com. Say goodbye to the hassle of waiting in lines and hello to the convenience of online prescriptions with ValueMed Pharmacy. Visit valrx.com to place your orders today.
For information that matters to you, the people. Hear from the government, the opposition, independents, and other experts on issues and solutions that affect you. For the record. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, tune into 89.9 and 93.9 FM for Cayman's Straight Talk Morning Show. For the record.
I invite you to join me for the record. You are invited to be a part of this interesting and informative show. Embrace the opportunity to dialogue with your legislators, policymakers, and those charged with policy implementation.
For the record. Brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors.
Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Afternoon, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And if you're inclined and have the patience, the resolve, the resilience, the dogged determination to try, see if the phone lines are working again. I know Mr. Philip Richter, who has been so gracious and kind to join us and share some of his time. Couldn't hear what Susan just said. Nah, but that's not working. But anyway. Phil, talk to me, man.
I hope the phone lines come back on. I enjoy speaking with the people.
Me too.
They're interesting.
Can I ask, though? I mean, I want you to share
You can ask
as
me anything.
freely as you wish.
All right.
And I would hope and pray that as a people that we will be prepared to allow others to share their perspective, but that holding them in such regard as being contemptible and the like. If we are in a democracy, maybe I'm naive in saying that we should have the freedom with the corresponding rights and responsibilities to share, respectfully to other opinion. Right? And the more informed and objective and impartial that opinion is, perhaps the better the dialogue. But we were referencing earlier the global landscape, and we look at Cayman.
Yeah.
And I wonder to what extent we get caught up in our internal little battles and issues, and on such a micro level that we don't see the macro implications, that we don't see that globally this thing is happening and potential negative impact on our society.
Is this?
I think, is it on, Miss Susan? You keep talking. Let's see. No. Keep that one. Put that one down. You talk. Great.
Can you hear me now?
Are you hearing Miss Susan? Yeah, she said you're fine.
All right. Well,
you mean he's fine looking? Or that's kid sounding. She's like, oh boy. That's teasing.
All right, we're back.
We shouldn't do that.
It's good to have jokes, though. If you can't laugh, what can you have?
But that's the problem. People don't laugh anymore, man.
We should, laughing. Even animals tease each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever see those really insightful social media clips? They'll be like, animals do this. Yeah, animals tease each other. They having a hoot. And we as humans, we should have more hoots more often. Fair. We should laugh. We should embrace each other. You know what I mean? We should cheer.
All right.
We should do all sorts of good things, and I think that will make our quality of life overall happier.
Indeed. Well, as Miss Susan pulls up this voice note, Miss Susan, in a bit, but Philip, you go ahead and chat, man.
You wanted, okay. So about opinions and different opinions and democracy and whatnot. How to, man, this is a big thing to unpack because of the day and age we live in. With the access to social media, we are influenced by so much, right? So if you subscribe to one line of thought, the algorithm, the artificial intelligence, can map out based on your likes and recommendations. I think you'll like this. I think you'll like that, and it will keep you. If you're not careful, it will keep you in a square.
Confirmation bias in a sense. You keep hearing the same thing. Confirmation into your rhetoric. Okay.
I'm trying to think of another word. Confirmation bias to the extreme, because it is right. No matter where you go, the AI will say, "No, you're gonna stay in this box." If you go off recommendations, but if you, the human, wake up one day and go, "You know what? I wonder what the other side has to say, or I wonder what the communists have to say, or the socialists, or the Green Party, or whatnot," and you go out of your way to do that, you can do that too. But I think we are sucked in to the square of feel-good confirmation bias. This is me, this is my people, this is the tribe I belong with. We think like this. We like patties.
But hearing you say feel good, I'm inclined to even expand on what some may be
when I mean feel good, well, the phone produces a little too much dopamine, right? So when you are on social media and you get likes, it's a rush. Ooh. Nothing feels better. Look how many people like my stuff. It feels great. Gives us a reward for doing not really much, to be honest. So if you're a good-looking person, you take a photo of yourself. Boom. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Wow. And you've got people from all over the world telling you how beautiful you are. Let's say you live in Cayman and you're beautiful, right? You can take a photo of yourself, post it online, and let's say 100,000 people from all over the world comment about how beautiful you are. Well, there's not 100,000 people in Cayman to tell you that, so it's blowing your sense of who you are in reality. It's just throwing social media, in my view, has thrown the human experience kind of out of whack. because we were not used to this amount of information all at once. I can call anybody I want for free over the internet using WhatsApp, right?
If you got an internet connection, right?
If you got an internet connection. And if you don't, just go outside a Subway at 2 in the morning and use their Wi-Fi. But point being, it's not hard to find. You ever just drive around at night and you'll see random people just sitting on like stoops on their phone? It's because there's a Wi-Fi connection there and they want to be connected to the internet and do their thing and research what they want to research.
George Carlin, right?
Good guy.
Yeah, I used to try very hard to listen to him.
Yeah.
I confess publicly that I struggled initially because of the profanity. for some reason, that made it difficult for me to pay attention, right? I made a conscious effort as a result of an exercise to do that.
Right.
Man's a deep intellect, very philosophical.
Very.
And in saying that, it reminds me of some of the things. We have more connectability or opportunities to connect, but are we having less connection as people? Right? We got a Wi-Fi, we got all these things. The technology allows us to be in this jurisdiction, this time zone, and talk to our friends in Germany, for instance.
Right.
You know, was it 9 hours ahead? Whatever it is, right?
District to district, moving through the
all right, that's our, our news queue, and it demonstrates our inability to multitask. So that is very evident. Let's go to the news, right, Miss Susan? Can you order up that dark chocolate for me? There she is.
Nice.
So when we come back, let's chat. And to our listeners, try again. We have a voice note that we'll play. Is that what we're doing? And I got a couple of questions to ask of you.
Let's go away.
Please, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time and attention. Join us after the break.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Brought to you by Tropical Plaza on Smith Road.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Roadworks have commenced at the Homestead Crescent Shamrock Road intersection as of February 2023. The National Roads Authority are working to realign the junction to improve the sight distance for vehicles entering and exiting the intersection. Work is planned to be completed by the end of May. In international news, police in North Carolina are searching for a man accused of shooting a 6-year-old girl and her father after their basketball rolled into the suspect's yard. 2 other victims, a woman and a man, were also injured. The Queen Consort's son has insisted Camilla did not have any sort of endgame to become queen. Speaking on the News Agents podcast, Tom Parker Bowles said his mother just married the person she loved. His remarks counter allegations by the Duke of Sussex, who wrote that Camilla played the long game with a campaign aimed at marriage and the crown. Camilla will be crowned alongside King Charles at the coronation on May 6, 2023 at Westminster Abbey in London. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Brought to you by Tropical Plaza on Smith Road.
Creative fashion and design. For all of your prom dresses and other formals, they are your one-stop shop. They specialize in tailoring, dressmaking, alterations, bridal, and tuxedo rentals. They also offer beginners and advanced sewing classes. Come visit them at Unit 8, Tropical Plaza, Smith Road, or call them at 949-0034 or email designfashion03@yahoo.com and make an appointment with one of their creative designers or register for one of their classes. Creative Fashion and Design, where quality fabric meets innovative designs.
Between the traffic, the meetings, kids' activities, there just isn't enough time. Best Health Pharmacy was a game changer. Not only are they centrally located on Eastern Avenue, but they deliver prescriptions for free anywhere in Georgetown and West Bay. I could not believe it. When my prescription ran out, they ran it back to me. Best Health Pharmacy, located at Crown Square Plaza on Eastern Avenue, across from Edie's Decor, offering free prescription delivery anywhere in Georgetown and West Bay. Call 949-1301 or WhatsApp your prescription to 924-5358. Best Health Pharmacy. Your health, your convenience is their priority.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Look at you, listening to the radio, tuning in, getting stuff done. Total doer. Maybe you're driving, maybe you're getting your oil changed or grabbing some chicken. Maybe you're doing something that's nobody's business but yours. Hey, that's cool. We're all doing something. Now you can join a whole new community of doers doing more on findyellow.com. With custom search, local experts, and trusted reviews, whatever you're doing, get it done on findyellow.com.
Row Variety, centrally located in Tropical Plaza on Smith Road, carrying a wide range of household items, bathroom accessories, towels, clocks, handbags, clothes, shoes, jewelry, and more, and more, and more. You can buy from the big box retailers or support local. The better deals come from shopping local. Row Variety Store, Tropical Plaza, Smith Road. Telephone 924-9553.
The Department of Agriculture would like to inform the public that animal-related import-export services contact hours have changed. For all animal-related travel inquiries, permit application process, and in-person visitations, visit doa.gov.ky or their Facebook or Instagram page at Agriculture Cayman to view the new hours. Call 947-3090 for more information.
Talk today. But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks again for listening. Now, world premiere debut. Hey, let's try something that we've been working on. We're going to play a voice note, but if you are so inclined to participate in this next experiment, try calling us on the WhatsApp and we can actually answer it. So I know this is new information, kind of like the WHO tell you one morning to do one thing, then the afternoon tell you to do something different. But try calling us on the WhatsApp, 925-32621. We're going to play the voice note and you can try calling us on the WhatsApp to see if we can answer it. You'll be surprised how we're managing to get into the thing. On behalf of Flow, they extend their apology. There's a network issue on their end that they're working to resolve, so soon come. But let's hear this voice note. Philip Richter's our guest. All right.
Happy to be here.
So, Susan, play.
Hi, Sterling. Good afternoon. This is Carrie from the BRAC. Just didn't know if everyone had heard from my page what had taken place in the last week. First of all, we got another garbage truck up here, a big one, and it's still sitting at the dock. I don't know when they're going to take it off the dock. It's been there a week. I'm hoping it gets off the dock soon and not sit there too much longer and get in operation. So we would be happy to know what's taking place there. And also, I also wanted to thank that caller, the last caller you had on the talk show today from the BRAC, for all of the wonderful comments he made that are truthful and honest and makes absolute sense. And now we understand as a people why we're constantly being oppressed in our country, and it should not be that way. When you move to this country, you should assimilate. You don't come and impose all of your culture and everything into our schools and into our country in such a way that you are burying ours. That's unfair to us because we've welcomed you with open arms to come here, to live, to be a part of the community, to become citizens. But yet, once you become citizens, you then take this powerful move of, okay, my country needs to be acknowledged here constantly. It's like recently with the culture days here in the BRAC at the different schools, the one flag that was most prominent was the one from the southeast over the bluff there, as per your caller from the BRAC who acknowledged that location. They were all over. The Spot Bay Primary School had one that was enormous, and the Caymanian flag was one tiny little one. And it was the same at the daycare. And parents up here were really upset and annoyed about that, or native citizens. And I raised it on my page. And, I think you need to learn to respect the country you are in. Respect everything about that country. Respect its culture, its heritage, the people, their lineage. Respect the people most. Us Native Caymanians, we are drawing our respect now. And we're not going to take too much of the foolishness, to be honest. So, people need to appreciate who we are as a country. We have been so accepting to so many nationalities, and people have come here and live and work and enjoy living here and making a big profit and making a life for themselves and their children. It's still safe to raise your kids here. We have no problem with that. But first and foremost, you have to respect the people you came found here as Native Caymanians.
All right, and that's one of our listeners sharing a voice note. Miss Carrie over there, BRAC. And if you want to call, try us calling. I want to see how that'll work. Call the WhatsApp and see if we can answer it. 925-3261. And many of us like to be what they call in technology early adopters. We like to be the first with the new technology. We like to be the first to try something. Then some of us go, no, you try it. If it works, then I'll try it. But we're industrious people. So let's see if we'll get a caller on the WhatsApp, 925-3261, and then see how that works. Philip Richter, thanks again, man, for taking some of your afternoon.
I am always, well, not always, but I will always make time to come on radio and speak to the people. Oh, look at that.
Look at that, huh? So I don't know what's going to happen, but Susan's going to tell me what to do. Kind of like being married, just listen to the woman. All right, let's go to the phones. There's a caller on the WhatsApp. The first time.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Is there a prize?
Could be the one I'm making history, I guess.
Well, there's some of us that make history in a good way and some that not so good. So this is a good way. Thank you, man. Thank you for trying. We can hear you.
But it seems like it's working really nice.
Well, I like when things work,
So I might be having a better way of making a call nowadays.
Well, hopefully that means that it's not only more affordable, but increased accessibility. So
yeah, and afternoon to you too, Philip.
Hey, afternoon.
All right. Now I can hear you very clearly. I'm asking if you can do the same on our part. Can you hear us?
Yeah, very clear. It's almost like better than Flo, in my opinion.
All right. Well, it sounds good, man. Thank you for calling. Now we're gonna listen to you. It's 212 and thereabouts. All right.
I was thinking about something that I was listening to Mr. McKeever talking about some days ago. About the schools in like a high school in West Bay. When I think about the fact that when I was going to high school, the most school buses that were coming into the school was from West Bay. I would think that it would lessen traffic if it does in the mornings and in the afternoons.
Mm-hmm.
If they do put a high school in the West Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that these don't have traffic all day long.
Phil, go ahead, man.
Not so much for schools. I would say we have traffic because good majority of the people that live in the Eastern Districts work in town, or on the
north of town, right?
Or north of town.
Yeah.
So we all conjugate in this one direction at the same time, and we all leave at the same time, heading back.
Mm-hmm. So to that, sir, with understanding that we have what would seemingly be an expanding population, seemingly that we have through the Economics and Statistics Office recent census data, and let's go on the premise that it's accurate and everything there, we should be able to inform ourselves relative to the demographic, the age distribution of the population, and maybe help to inform future policy and planning. What then do you think we should do for now to alleviate any short-term problems, but to mitigate and potentially prevent future challenges? Hello, sir?
Are you asking me that, Mr. Sterling?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I know I call you sir, and you probably say he can't be talking to me.
All right. No, well, like I said, there's a lot of factors, a reason why we have traffic, and I mean, I do believe that the drivers do play a big part in the fact that they should moderate the way they drive. Maybe it's instead of doing 3 trips a day, you should just do 1 and then try to shoot 3 birds at one time. And I mean, I understand there's a lot of people in rush, but when you see them go into a rush, they're only rushing to go to the bar, or maybe if they are rushing to go to work because they never realized that they were going to take so long in the bank. I don't know what it is that would cause traffic, but I don't think it's the importation of more vehicles, that's for sure. Because not everybody can drive all of those vehicles one time.
Yeah. Well, that may be low-hanging fruit for some, and you are, correct in saying that if a person has 1,000 vehicles, they can only drive 1 at a time. But I think, could this be another glaring indication that a society that is unwilling to look long-term, to acknowledge the challenges it's having now? If we continue to bury our heads in the sand, it's like that festering sort of sore that we may have. My friend, it's not going to get any better. Before we take the next caller, just quickly, anything more you'll find? If not, we can only take one at a time on tour.
Oh, well, I like to put my point out, and I like to do my little studies, so I just would, I just wanted to really test if this was working, because now I have a better option.
It's always available to you, man. Take it as yours personally.
Caller, I have one question to you. If there is a high school built in West Bay, what do you suggest the kids do so that they can all integrate with kids from West Bay, Georgetown, and the Eastern Districts? Because if they're all in their high schools that are in their districts, they only hang out with their fellow district mates or whatever.
And maybe district based, right?
Yeah, they'll just be district based. How do we integrate them?
I don't think that would be a hard question to answer, because when we go to primary school, we were all in one constituents anyways. So I mean, when we head into high school, it's your option if you want to go to this high school or you want to go to that high school. So I could have gone to West Bay Primary School, and then I decided, Mom, I want to go to Triple C.
All right, I see the perspective. But thanks very much, all right?
Have a great day.
But Phil, that's a good point in that there are some who have shared that we're having a growing divide in our community, even at the formative years in terms of education.
Right.
I wonder to what extent we are looking at that and saying, well, is this division now becoming even much, much worse because of economic reasons, not just geographical? We know that we employ catchment areas, so Georgetown has more than one primary school, and if you live in this area, you're being instructed that this is the primary school that you must go. If you live in this area of Georgetown, that's the primary school. Would it be better to have the society subscribe to the school it wants and not be compelled to attend that school?
Like a charter school system?
Even more so than that, right? Because the charter school would be a good way, the premise of it, to allow the school more autonomy in exchange for greater accountability. But I was thinking that if we were to employ the market system, and let's say it's a business,
yes,
and there are 3 businesses, and they all sell the same widget for the same, right? The consumer that finds that business 1, service, pricing, whatever, is better or preferable, they'll go to that particular business, and then the other businesses, presumably, all things being equal, would either improve its quality, its service, its delivery, or move from that, supply, manufacturing, distribution of widgets to something else. If we do the same with schools, and there's a school that everybody seems to like for whatever reason,
right,
that may have an over subscription, and a school that people have the perception well isn't, it may become more identifiable. More resources may be deployed to bring it up to that level that the consumer, the school and public wants. And if we employ it in that sense, would that work better and give that a sense of choice? And like public and private schools where the division is now, so you go to school 1 and it's $1,000 a month to go, and you can't afford that, so your option is school 3, that's only $1 a month, right? But it's not as proficient in its educational delivery. Who is at loss? Who's benefiting? Right?
Those, unfortunately, it's a matter of economics.
Right.
You know, if you can pay to play, and you can afford to go to the great schools, you'll get the great amenities. But it's not the kid's fault, you know what I mean?
It's not the child's fault.
These kids aren't, born child actors and whatnot, and have a pension, and you know what I'm saying? They're kids.
But this is where. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
This is a big question, and
this is where
it's definitely worth exploring. Continue exploring, but I don't have an answer.
No, fair enough.
But I will say, education is a great equalizer.
Yeah. And not only is it that the answer eludes many of us, it's probably not even been addressed and acknowledged by those who have been entrusted with the authority to consider it or to deploy measures to correct it. So like education, like healthcare, is it that if you have the money, presumably you have access. In the absence of the money, whether it's through a good insurance policy or through your own financial wherewithal, then you can't get there. If a society is willing to accept that relative to education and healthcare, then it won't be long before you see that growing divide, and potentially the unrest that may come, or the discontentment, the notion that people will accept, well, this is my lot in life and I can't rise above it.
Okay, all right. This is the way I'd unpack all that. I would say we have to look at it in two systems. We have to look at the public education system as one entity, and then we have to look at the private education system as another entity. We cannot conflate the two because they're two completely...
So public and private come separately?
Look at them separately.
Okay.
Because they're two completely different entities. One has one is a business, right? And so you've got money coming in every month, and you can scale up, you can do this, you can do that, you're more flexible with your budget. This is the private school because it's a business, right?
Okay.
If they're seeing 30 new students come in every year, that's 30,000 extra a month. What can we do with that? We can build a kitchen and teach home ed. For example, we have funds to deal with, and the more that school is successful, the more parents will send their kids to that school, the more money they'll get, so on and so forth. From how I understand the public education system, they're given a budget.
Okay.
And maybe I'm completely out of my depth here.
But you're just putting forward a perspective.
A perspective,
all right,
which has very little footnotes. If this was a Wikipedia article, there would be just be a bunch of question marks.
Let me ask more questions.
Reference,
right.
But I'll just say, let's say the public education system just gets a budget, right? Well, it's kind of like a budget. It's kind of set in stone. X amount goes to this. X amount goes to that, and unless the budget, which is given to them, increases or decreases, they have to go with the flow. I would say a private school is more in control of their budget.
So let me then ask, right?
Yeah.
First, a private school.
Yes.
And let's go on the premise that end of the day, it's whether they call themselves non-profit or for-profit, it's still a private entity.
No such thing as a non-profit. They still make money.
Okay. So if it's a private school, should it be the recipient of public funds?
I would say that's a great question, one I cannot answer. However, I'll say this. Scholarships.
No, fair enough. And let's say it's a private school, right? And we allow it to exist in the system that we have. And because it's getting public funds, as we gather private schools in Kathmandu and there may be a very convincing argument as to why, because of the need of space and the government can't meet all of the demand. We're not going to go there just yet, right?
Right.
But if it's receiving that, to what extent there's a level of accountability and ensuring that that money, is actually needed by the school, not to only pay salaries and expand its resources, but to complement the education delivery, and B, the way it's being done is as equitable as possible, so that it's not just on student population, maybe it's on other needs, sort of merit-based system. And then to your point, the recipients, right, of that public funds are providing a corresponding service in terms of scholarships to help others who otherwise would not be able to attend because of the fees, right? The idea of education and healthcare as public goods may not necessarily be sufficiently ventilated and understood in our society. And if the perception is that, let's take it from the perspective of a government school.
Right.
So there are 3 government schools, A, B, and C.
Yes.
But the public thinks A is the better choice for whatever reason.
Right.
More would want to go there, whether you arbitrarily create a catchment area or some other system to get there, or if there is the government system and the private system, and the private system seems to be perceived to be better. Maybe it's newer, maybe it has more resource, maybe the playground is better, the computer lab, extracurricular activities integrated into the curriculum.
Right.
You're going to get the subscription to those things, just like the public, like the private. So where is the intervention on society to ensure that from the educational perspective, the child who is subjected to the parents, presumably authority and decision, isn't at a disadvantage because of the particulars of the parents, financial or lack of political capital? The things the policymakers should contemplate, but the voters should demand, are articulated.
Yeah, I'm gonna just. Oh, man, wow, what a question! Jeez, is there an answer? Who says there is one? That's one of those. That's a modern day philosophical question.
There are answers, The problem is, though, to what extent are we willing to seek it and do the right thing? To the caller's point, when you ask the question, well, how do we ensure that there is integration, that we're not creating and
like
compounding,
silos.
and the segregation unknowingly, unwillingly, right? You take people in a particular community who only interact with their own. They may not necessarily benefit from the experiences of others, but by the same token, if you don't have sufficient integration and acclimation, or will you end up with a society that is dominated, back to what the gentleman shared, immigration without integration is colonization, right? So in the Cayman context, you have this growing population and development and the demand for more government services because of the increased population. Will that number impose on the already established society particular expectations, particular sort of values, and given either the increased number or the ability of that number to influence, it may fundamentally change the norms that are in that society, right? And if you don't have people who are sufficiently grounded in who they are and a willingness, a simple example. Okay.
To your point, I think that again, clearly no expert. However, in my opinion in this, I would say the last part of what you were saying about cultural identity. If we were, let's look at Japan. Japan doesn't care who you are. When you come to Japan, you're in Japan. That's that. We don't, if they're not going to apologize for not speaking to you in English. They don't care, right? I'm not saying
similarly, right?
Right. I'm not saying that we need to be that standoffish, but what I'm saying is if we had a strong cultural identity and we're like, no, this is who we are 24/7, 365, right? Then I would say it would be harder for our cultural infrastructure to be influenced.
But to your point, sorry, let me cut you. Because I'm hoping that as people listen, that they'll reflect that we have amazing gifting in the society.
We do.
the
What
freedoms
is that
to
gift?
yeah.
What
Tell
is
us,
it?
What is it?
Lobster season?
Oh, let people figure it out, right? But when I look at people like you, not that you're young, so to speak, and I don't want to say that because some people might.
I am young, even though I have gray hairs.
Yeah, some people might look at it as being offensive. It's not just age; it's the youthful energy and enthusiasm. Right?
Age is just a number.
Yeah, and my father, he would play football with us inside the house. Right?
What a guy.
Hey, listen, man. As he taught me to play checkers and everything else and cards and whatever, the notion that he would engage with us to the best of his ability and always the most sincere, loving, honest, kind way, right? That caused me to have the confidence to, hold my space, speak my mind. But he said, you got to remember two things. When you speak, your opinion and voice isn't the only one. If you can't respect another's view, then you should utter yours. And secondly, when you do speak, can you speak in such a way that is respectful? Do you need to cuss and shout and scream and cuss and carry on? if you can speak understanding that your view isn't the only one, and in a way that is respectful and responsible, then speak. Too many of us, even to this day, even in this society, forget about the rest of the world, believe that the golden rule is he who has the gold, or he who has the gun, or he who has the gun that guards the gold, is the one that makes the rule, as opposed to the humility and the humanity that comes with a sense of sensibility to respect others and to treat them as how we would want it to be treated, right? And as much as it's painful to watch this society, devolve into a state where we're displacing, discarding, and disregarding who we are, that sense of cultural identity, a simple example, I'll leave this with you. And I've consciously done this. So the word is Bacchus. In our Barkers, in our said that way, it's Bacchus. You got Bacchus, right? We refuse to ensure that who we are and what we are is respected and is reflected. I think Captain Paul is someone that is greatly admired, respected for who he is and what he stands for. And he shared publicly on many occasions that there are little places in Cayman, even in just Georgetown alone, that over the decades, the names of those places not only have been changed, they've been forgotten, right? But there are two that stand out, and I say this publicly as an example to remind us. Bacchus and Batabanu. It's not Batabanu, it's not anything else. And because we won't say that, now the people who would privately say, boy, you keep saying that, thanks for having the courage, they're the same ones probably be the most public to say, well, you can get on board and follow the program and read from the script. Hey, drinking the Kool-Aid, like the people in Guyana with Jim Jones. Everybody had consensus, but look what happened to everybody. So, Philip, my friend.
Wow.
I thank you for encouraging me to be courageous. I thank you for having the intellect to share, to be willing to persevere, and through your own reading, research, and understanding, to have the courage, the conviction, and the compassion to be a part of what we share, man.
Thanks. It means a lot. Warming up my heart over here.
Thank you, man. Please accept the invitation to join us when your schedule allows. You take your lunch hour and come sit with us.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
All right, everybody. Tomorrow's Thursday, Miss Susan? She said no. So she's paying attention. No, it's not Thursday. Today's a thoughtful Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. Please join Mr. Art in the morning for the record. Come back for Talk Today right after the midday news. There's an event this evening at the National Gallery tomorrow. We'll have a little thing on that as part of what's going to transpire. I think it's okay to say Her Excellency arrives tomorrow and will be sworn in, and we're going to take that live. So, again, it's going to be amazing.
Ooh, history in the making.
History in the making.
First the WhatsApp calls, now new governor. What's next?
And the second female governor.
Hey.
All right. So
exciting times.
Let's be responsible and respectful. Let's be willing to ensure that what we do serves, humanity in the most positive and productive way. Until tomorrow, my friends, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman.